get it. Everyone wants a cool car. Or are you as cool as Steve McQueen? All joking aside, sometimes you forget the nostalgia of this car and the amount of construction that goes on in this state. So this is a 2001 Bullit. Right now, I have 173,107 miles on it. You may think that's a lot, and it is. But there's a lot more to this car than just miles. The two-valve powertrain is known for being a performer. Not in terms of power, everybody knows that, but in terms of, you know, just longevity, liability. I mean, every Crown Victoria under the sun had it, and honestly, it was something that came standard with many cars from Ford's lineup. Are new edges forgotten about? That's the real question. You know, nowadays in the modern world, the Coyote motor took over, rightfully so. I used to own a 2014 Mustang GT, so I can totally understand the relevance and the differences. But the 3-valve and 2-valve is just a shadow car. Back when this car came out, it was something spectacular. And now it's something, in my opinion, special and rare. Only a few thousand of these were made. This one's dark Highland green. And honestly, it's not something you see every day. And it's really cool seeing it on the road, in my opinion. But when you see a 3-valve, or just the beginning S197 body style, you start to realize that there's way more of them on the road than there are these. Especially the newer Coyote models, the S550s, and the 11 through 14 S197 models. So let's talk about the history. Obviously everybody knows about Bullit, the movie, and it's a unique experience because that was one of the first movies that basically started all of this. In terms of the Bullit platform and everything. Steve McQueen was the star, as I'm sure you guys know. He was being chased by a Dodge Charger. And it was really a unique situation because at the time, there weren't any movies that were really like that. And the cool part about that is it trickled down into modern consumer day cars. And at the time, it was just a movie car. And now if you had the real car, you'd make a lot of money. Like a lot of money. But the one cool thing is that, you know, this is kind of like a piece of movie history as well as just history. Granted, this model when it came out only had 265 horses. It was only 5 horses over the standard New Edge GT, but it also came with 300 foot-pounds of torque. So I guess for its time, this car was fast. I mean, the weight of this car too. The surprising factor of this car is the weight. So this car, I think it only weighs like 33 or 3,400 pounds or something like that. Whereas most N197s, they weigh anywhere from 36 to 3,700 pounds. Don't even get me started on the new ones. You know, they're a lot heavier. But granted, the Coyote powertrain is incredible. I used to own a 2014 Mustang GT. And yeah, I miss the Coyote powertrain for sure. But I bought this car with different intentions. And I wanted to see what the new edges were about. I've only owned a S197 based one, and personally, there's a lot that I can write home about. It's a different type of feel. It's much more raw, visceral, mechanical. The S197 is definitely more refined, but still muscle car based, right? So this car though has power steering that's not electrical. Every car that I've driven that was pretty much newer has electrical power steering. nostalgia, and also it's an easy car to learn on too. Like if you're trying to not necessarily drive stick, because I think this car, if someone had to learn how to drive stick on this car, it'd be a pain in the ass for them in a way, because the gas pedal's mechanical as well, and the clutch is heavier, but yet it's more linear, which I think in a way that also does help. But when people first begin, they tend to gas it up too much. But back to the point of, you know, if you want to learn how to work on a car, if you want to basically buy things that won't break the bank too much, but you can still have reliability, this is the car to buy. I mean, the New Edge is really the forgotten Mustang, and it's becoming more of a rarity, and I honestly think that it's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, it's some people argue it's the best looking Mustang, some people argue it's the worst looking Mustang. Pick your poison, really. You know, the one thing I will say though is that this car, even though the horsepower specs are lower, it doesn't detract from the fact that the 300 foot-pounds of torque is still 300 foot-pounds of torque, and it comes on way earlier in terms of feel and everything. But the chassis is light, it's nimble. Like this car is just fun. Like my Coyote was great. My 14 GT was amazing, and I still want another one. Or 14 and up, doesn't matter. Anything with the Coyote, just because it's easier to mod and go fast, right? But this car though, like that was, you know, it's just fun, very manageable, right? Granted, the top end is not fast, I understand that, but you know, I think a lot of people are stuck in these horsepower wars, and they actually don't know how to drive at all. I don't know, I think toning it down for a change is actually a really nice thing. Honestly, this is one of the best sounding Mustangs. One of the best sounding Mustangs. But aside from that, the Bullit Heritage, the color, the spoiler delete option, everything about this car, in my opinion, is unique. Let's go back to the Bullit Heritage. So the Bullit Heritage didn't really do much for this car. When it came out, you really only had 3 color choices. You got 2 stickers that showed you if it was a Bullit or not. One underneath the hood, which I'll show you guys. That no longer exists on my car, unfortunately. And one behind the rear seat. It shows you the number, and it basically was like a reflective sticker. But to detract from all of that, the interior is almost exactly the same as a New Edge, and I think that was everybody's biggest complaint. There wasn't anything really special that said, hey, I'm driving a Bullit, right? It was everything New Edge based. One nice part that they did change though are the seats. So the seats are a little bit different than the New Edge, which I appreciate. They're more bolstered on the side, and the slots down the center actually are just better, and these have held up a little bit better in my opinion than the other ones would have. Also, you get the Mach 1 gauge cluster, which is a lot nicer in font in my opinion. And then you get obviously the standard Mach 460 audio. But aside from that though, it's pretty much the same car as any other New Edge Mustang, which I get, like I get it. Honestly, the one thing I do miss is Bluetooth, having a radio, but you know, there's modules and all that. I guess I'm a little bit old school in the sense that I like to keep things more stock because it adds to the, you know, character of the car in my opinion. But doesn't mean you can't upgrade it, swap it back whenever you want to. And that's to be accepted, you know. A car that's 19 to 20 years old, it's totally normal. question.